So we are starting with the same point. The question was, does it mean that you can have only one public class per program? Now, how to define a program and an application? That's what the yesterday's discussion point. So let's start. Let me start my screen sharing. Is screen visible? Okay, great. So screen is visible. Fine. So let me open. This was the directory that we used yesterday for writing our application. So let me show you the program, and these were the files that we used, like the first.java, and we created a second file, second.java, and then I compiled only first.java file, and it compiled automatically second.java file. Now, here Java is very modular. Like you can keep your program in different files, and Java, even if you keep your entire program into one file, Java is going to produce separate dot class files for each of the class. Now, for example, let's open our first.java file, first.java file. Now, what this first.java file is doing is it is calling the method from second uh, class, and the method name is data. And we have a complete separate file for second.java, second.java, and this is the only code which is present inside second.java file. So now what we will do is what we will do is we'll create another program, let's say notepad, let's say third.java, and a completely new file. And now I'll make use of public keyword while declaring this class. So it is going to push me that my class name has to be first, as well as, sorry, third, as well as my file name has to be third. So public class must be declared in the same file name. That is what the rule is. So uh, one fine. So now in this third class, what we will do is I'll make another public method, public static void main. Let's add it, and let's call the method second.java. Now look at this. The second notepad file is completely a different file, that second.java. First.java is a completely different file. So we have three files separate .java files, and my third class is also calling the second.data method. Now if I compile my third.java file, I need some quick answers in the chat window. What do you think? It is going to compile or not? Compile, yes. So it will definitely compile. Uh, so see, the third.java file compiles, and now if I execute Java third, it says this is the data method from second. Now we will do one modification in the second.java file. Let me open it again, second.java, and let me go to this thing, and I'll just delete this. Now my second.java file has nothing inside it. There is only class second, and this class is having nothing inside it. It's absolutely empty, right? So now what we will do is we will compile. Now this is our programming scenario. The first file, sorry, third program is calling the second dot data method, and the class second have nothing inside it, just an empty class. And now I will try to compile Java C third dot Java. Now I again need some answers. What do you think? It will compile or not? Looking at this scenario, the third dot Java will compile. Yes, no. No method declaration error. Okay. Bhagyesh has given answer. No. Rajvardhan Sagre has also given answer. No. Omkar. Okay. Great. So I have three answers. Any other different answer? Okay. Maybe. So let's try. Let's try. Let's see what happens. So if I hit enter key, oh, I haven't selected this. If I hit enter key, going here, you say that cannot find second dot data. Now it's a modular program and it's not able to locate that second dot data. But look at this dir, you have second dot class file available for you. Now we will do one more thing. We will do one more thing. The thing is delete second dot Java file. Now I'm removing second.java file. Now, obviously there is no second.java file in my directory, but there is a second.class file. There is a second.class file, which might be overridden when we compile third.java. Now, what will happen if I if I try to recompile it third.java, which is the same error. Okay. Now, but there is no error. So can anybody give me the reason why there is no error now? Let me repeat the task. So I will save this file. So it was deleted. So I will save it into my the same folder, my underscore java dot java file. It is it is already saved because I pressed Ctrl S key. Now let me show you there is a second dot java file, and now I'll try to compile my third dot java file. Then you hit error that there is absence of second dot data. Then I will delete my second dot java file, and there is a still presence of second dot class file in my directory, but there is no second dot java file now. And now we will try to compile third dot java, and it compiles. Now can anyone give me the reasons on chat window why this happened? Okay, program get compiled as its class file is there. Okay, so Bhagyesh have given one answer. Any other answers? Byte file is there. Okay, when there was error, class file was not formed. Okay, so let me. Okay, so now Divya have quite a bit relative answer of what we were asking. Java only needs a class file for running this. Okay, fine. So look, what has happened, guys, is earlier we had the second method inside, the data method inside the second class, and then we compiled the program that second.java file, and we have produced this second.class file. So this second.class file do have the data method because we have produced this earlier. And after producing the second.class file, we have deleted the data method from second.java. So what compiler does is, if it finds .java version of the class, then it acquires that particular part from the program and then try to use it. If the .java version or the class definition is not found by the compiler, then it will search for .class file if there is a presence of a .class file for this class or not. In our case, if I remove this second .java file, I guess we have already removed the second.java file. Yes, we have removed it. So in our case, when we have removed the second.java file, the program is still able to locate the second class by using this second.class file. So it compiled. Sorry, I should write, and it compiles. And now if you say Java third, it will even access the method. So this is how the Java is very modular. Like you can tweak with the different classes using different program files, and ultimately you can what we can say, use the different class file produced by different using different source code files. So ultimately we can have the statement made in the last session was, it does it mean that one program can have one public class? So I will put it in this way: one Java source code file can have only one public class. So what we can do is, in this third file, I can say class demo, and this will work fine. This is going to work fine. Why this is going to work fine? Because in this third.java file, there is only one class which is public, which is third itself, and the class demo is not declared as public. So this source code is going to work fine. This file is going to done fine, done well. And now if I compile this java c third.java, it's going to produce two different class files, one for the third and one for the demo. So there is a separate dot class file for demo. So if I say dir, you will find demo.class. And let's tweak with this class also. Let me put a method, static method again, public static void. Let's say uh, demo class have what we can say, test method. So demo class have a method called as test, and here we will print something using println. This is testing of demo class. So this is what we are going to print. Now let's recompile the.java. So it compiles. Now we will go to the first.java file. Let me close this window and let me go to the first.java file, notepad first.java. And in this file, we will call the method demo.test. So look at this. This is the public class with the main method. This file have a class demo. This class demo have a method called as test. There is altogether separate public class called as first. This first class also have a method called as main, and in the main method we are trying to access demo.test. So now if I compile this first.java file, what do you think? It will work? Yes, no? Yes. Yes, guys, so this is going to work because demo.class has been already been created. So if I say java c first.java, it compiles and even it works first dot, and it says this is the I hope you are able to say, I should have put it on the next line, but this is the testing of demo class. Now we will do one more thing. What I will do is I will say delete demo.class file. So I'm deleting demo.class file. Now if I try to say java c first.java, what do you think? It will compile or not? In this case, it will compile or not. Now we do not have demo.class. It will compile. Okay, one answer is it will compile. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Okay, so let me show you the effect that it had. So right now, guys, we have a third.java file which have demo and which have third class inside it. We have first.java file which is trying to call demo, which is residing inside third.java file. And if you see my the directory, you will not find any demo.class file. I have already removed it, and now I'm trying to compile. I'll say javac first.java. Sorry, right. First, I should compile the first.java file, and then you people are saying it is going to compile. Is there any different answer from this from anyone? Okay, I think that all people will buy answer yes. So let's see what happens. So here that says that cannot find symbol demo.test. Now we are getting error. Now can anyone tell me the reason why we are getting error? Earlier it executed, but now we are getting error. Can anyone reason this? Public nahi ahe. Okay, demo is not public. Okay, any other? So what I will do this. So Bhagesh has given the answer, sir. It is not public. So what I will do is we didn't compile third.java from Kshitij. I guess this my answer from the Kshitij is quite relative. So to make it more clear, let's say if I remove this public keyword from the third.java file, still it doesn't make any sense. So how Java works? Let's say how Java compilation works. So how Java compilation works is when you right now I'm compiling first.java file. So let's look at the code of first.java file. So it in the first.java file, when you try to compile it, it looks for the class entry point, which is first in that main method. As soon as your program finds the entry point, which is the main method inside class first, it hits the line number 2 or line number first inside the main method. What is the line number first in the inside the main method is called to the second class, and to be very specifically the method of second class, which is data. Then the compiler does the first job. First job is as soon as it finds that there is a call to the class, it searches for the .java file called as second.java. The very first thing is it tries to find the second in the same file, in the same source code file. Now compiler will look for second class in the same source code file. Now if it is not finding the second, the compiler will do the second job. It will look for second.java file. Now if compiler do not find the second.java file in the same directory, then it does the third job. Third job is it looks for the second.class file. Now it will find the second.class file. Then it will utilize that second.class file to locate the method called as data. Now if your second dot class file have the data method, then it will execute, otherwise it will give error. Okay, so Bhagesh is asking a question in the same directory. Yes, it will do this search in the same directory. So compiler will always search for the classes in the current directory, or to be very specific, there is something called as class path. We are going to talk about a lot about class path in the second unit, not now. So Java C compiler always look for something called as a class path. Right now our class path is the current directory. So Java compiler is going to look for the class in the same source code file .java file. If it is not found, then it will search for .java file with the same names, that is second.java. If it do not find that, then it will search for second.class file, third thing. If it finds that second.class file, in our case it's going to find it, then inside the second.class file, it will search for the method called as data. In our case, that is also present, so it is going to execute. Next, then it is printing something using printf statement. After doing this, the program will move on to the third line, which is demo. Then it will again start looking for a definition of a demo, like it is present in the third file. In the same way, the first.java file will look for the definition of a demo in the same notepad file or the same source code file, which is not present. After this, If it is not finding demo definition in the same source code file, it will look for demo.java. It will not find demo.java because we haven't compiled third.java file, and it will not produce demo.java. So it do not find demo.class file in this. After not finding demo.class file, it will, after not finding demo.java file, then it will also look for demo.class file. Again, it's not going to find demo.class. So this is how hierarchy follows. It search for the demo class in the same source code. It fails. Then it will go on look for demo.java. There is no presence of demo.java. Then it will go on look for demo.class. Again, that is not present. So if you try to compile this, it is going to give error, cannot find symbol. And now again, I say that Java compiler is a very good, precise compiler. It exactly pinpoints what is a problem. Look at the error. So error is line number 6 in the file first.java. So first.java file have error at line number 6. Error is cannot find symbol. Now which symbol? There is a small arrow operator here which is indicating the exact error. Error is with demo, and it says that symbol is variable demo and location is class first. How many errors we have? Error 1. So this is how very pinpointed error is been given by Java. Now the solution to this error is take this class, paste it inside the same notepad file, then the program will compile. Second is take this class, put it in a file called as demo.java, then also it will compile. Or compile this third.java and generate a demo.class file and then uh, compile the first program, still it will compile. Okay, we have one question from Kshitij. What if we have our second.java inside a subdirectory? Can it find that file? Okay, so when you think about subdirectory, we have already started talking about packaging. There are a lot to discuss about packaging. We have to create something called as a jar file. So for me, for while teaching, for me, this uh, Java folder. Let me go to my Java folder. For me, this folder of mine is not like maybe it's a folder of Windows for us, but for Java, this is not a folder. This is a package called as my Java. So, and if I create some subfolder inside it, let's say I'll create something called as, let's say sub one, then this becomes a sub package. By default, I'll repeat my point. Uh, what question has been asked by Sagre is, what if we have one second.py Java file inside a subdirectory? So compiler is not going to look inside sub1 folder unless and until we tell the compiler to do so. So by default, compiler will only look into the same directory, not inside sub1 directory. So this is the scenario, and what he's saying is, what if I have this second.class file or second.java file moved inside sub1 folder? So by default, compiler will not Kshitij Sagrayas. Okay, fine. So by default, this is not going to check into the sub1 directory. It's not going to check it. We have to tell the compiler that you have to go into the sub1 directory and check for the file called as second.java or the program called as second.class. When we do so, when we tell the compiler that you have to go and look into the particular subdirectory or any other directory present in my computer, that time we have to take help of something called as a class variable and packaging. As soon as we start taking help of a class variable and a packaging, that is altogether a different story. Then we have to talk about access modifiers in detail before going into that. So answer is, by default, Java compiler will not look into the subdirectory. If your programs are present in the subdirectory, compiler will throw error. Can we resolve it? Yes, there is something called as packaging using which we can resolve this. Okay, Sagre got this particular concept. Fine, great. So do you really get it? Why Java is very much modular, and uh, it's not really good to say that one program will have only one public class. Program or application like Java will have modules, and you can interlink these all modules all together in a different style as you want and get anything done out of it. Are we very clear? Have I answered the question? Can we have only one public class in one program? Okay. So Bhagesh got this answer. So I I strongly urge that do not take it as we have a single public class in single program. No, we have a single public class in single source code file. We can have multiple public classes inside single application, and Java is very modular about it. Fine. Okay, got it. So let's move on, move our discussion with the further point. Now let's, with the limited knowledge that we have gained in this two sessions, what we'll do is we'll learn how to read input from the keyboard. That's what we will do next. Let's take an input from the keyboard. Before taking an input from the keyboard, we have to understand something about the package hierarchy. Now, Java, which has been developed earlier developed by the Sun microsystem, gained a lot of popularity in the market, and people started contributing to Java as it was an open source. It was possible to dive into the source code of a Java and contribute to the source code if you want. So what happened is, like taking an input from a keyboard in Java was a bit difficult task, was a bit tedious task. It used to something, there is something called as a buffered reader or a input stream reader, and then buffered input stream and what we can say, input stream, plain input stream class or a raw input stream class. You will see those classes when we start with file handling in detail. So that was very tedious task in Java. So a community come up in Java and they developed a class called as a scanner. Now this scanner class can be utilized to read from a keyboard, uh, take an input from the keyboard. So for the sake, we are going to use this scanner class to read from a keyboard. But in reality, this scanner class is not limited use to read from a keyboard. Scanner reads a stream. I hope you understand from the C++ that stream means a group of or a bunch of zeros and ones. Anything which is flowing between 0 and 1 in the computer between two devices or two chips even we can say, that is a stream, flow of data. So whenever we have flow of data, we call it as a stream. So what is the job of a scanner? Job of the scanner is to read flow of data, to read input stream. When input stream is coming from a file, it can read it. When the input stream is coming from any other device, it can read it. When the input stream is coming from the keyboard, it can read it. So scanner class, mistakenly many people treat the scanner class as a utility to read from a keyboard. No, scanner class is a utility to read from any input device or from anything which is passing the data. You can literally read from a file, from a network, from a keyboard. Right now, we are going to make use of scanner class to read from a keyboard. Then I mentioned the point that it was not originally developed by Java community. It was developed by. It was not originally developed by Java. What we can say, Sun microsystem. It was developed by a community which was support working on Java. Then that community released a package, something called as util. So java.util and scanner. So now Java, which was original development, accepted this util package as its own library, and util got recognition. So util was a different project, Java was a different project. At a certain point, Java accepted this util community as its own part. The contribution of util community was accepted by Java as its own packaging, and then the scanner class become part of JDK. Now, using the scanner, we can read from a keyboard. Now, let's understand this import statement. What is this Java? What is this util? What is this scanner? So in C and C++, you people have used something called as hash include, and then this brackets, maybe stdio h or maybe io stream, whatever the package, whatever the package summary or the class summary you want to inherit. In the same way, Java has its own style. It says import. So whenever we hear the word import, it means that you are trying to import a class which is not present or defined by you. Okay, so even if right now our class have only one definition, our program have only one class definition, which is first, and now we want to use a class which is called as scanner, and we are not defining class scanner, we are using it. So when we want to use this class which is scanner, which is not defined by us or defined in this program, then we have to take a use of import statement. So import statement allows us to use dot class files or packages developed by other community which is not present in your own directory or in your own package. So import Java means go and look it into the Java packaging. Inside Java packaging, again, you will find many sub packages. Util is a sub package inside package called as Java. In util package, you are specifically looking for scanner. Now here one point you have to notice. There is a ground rule. So when if you have observed neatly, you will find that I have declared all the classes using capital character. So my I have till the now I have declared almost 4 classes. One was first, then second, then third, and then demo. The common thing you will find in this all classes is, let me open third dot Java file. Sorry, notepad. Third dot Java. So you'll find one common thing between the class definitions that I've used. The common thing is the first character of this all classes class names is capital. See, demo D is capital, third T is capital, first F is capital. So whenever you hit a capital character while defining something in Java, you must you are 100% sure, you are very sure that if something starts with the capital letter in Java, that is used to declare a class. And if something is not starting with the capital letter in Java, then that is not a class. That probably is a method, or that probably is a package. So our data method, our test method, our main method, here also our main method, which is not starting with the capital character. So whenever there is a word in Java which is not starting with the capital character, you are very sure that that is not a class. So this is also not a class, this is also not a class. But look at the scanner. What do you think? S is capital, so what is scanner? Scanner is definitely a class. So that is another standard we have to follow while programming in Java. Whenever we find anything in Java which is declared with the capital letter, we are sure that that is a class. If anything is not declared with the capital character, then that for sure that is not a class. So in this import statement, we are importing something called as a Java package. We will talk about packages in more detail. So we are importing a library. Okay, for the sake of this lecture, we'll say it as a library. So we are importing a library called as Java. Inside this Java library, there are many libraries. Out of these sub libraries, we are importing util library. And util library also have many things inside it. From the util library, I am importing only one class, which is scanner, which is class. Now, why I'm sure this scanner is a class? Because S is capital. That is a standard Java follows. Now let's use scanner class. In Java, it's another good example that it's a strict OOP, and you have to instantiate the class by creating an object of it using a new keyword. Now we will talk about more in this more in detail about this. For the sake of this, when I want to use scanner class, this is the style of C++, C++. This is how we create object of scanner class. Look, we have already discussed in detail. Now if I remove this, now what Java compiler will do is, Java compiler will look for scanner definition in the same source code file. It is not present. Then it will look for file called as scanner.java, not present. Then third thing it will do is it will look for scanner.class file in the same folder. Again, that is not present. So it's a compilation error. But we know that where to find scanner.class file. We know that the scanner.class file is present into something called as Java in that util, and in that file, in that package, in that library, this scanner class is present. So I'm importing this, import java.util.scanner. Now this is the style of C++. This is how we create the objects in C++. And we know that if you create object like this, it will allocate a memory on stack. Java is a strict OOP, and it says that all the instances has to go on heap. It will not allocate an object on stack at all. So Java again puts a restriction that this is how you cannot create an object in Java. You have to compulsory make use of a keyword new. Second, now this is a valid definition in C++. We know that it is going to call a constructor. And for sure, I am very sure that you people know that it is going to call a default constructor. So Java even is more restrictive on this. It says that you have to specify parentheses. So if I want, what we can say, I'm interested in calling a default constructor, I'll use this. If I'm interested in calling a specific constructor, I have to pass a parameter. I see some message on chat. Okay, there are two questions. One is from Bhagesh sir. As scanner is stored inside util, then in which form it is stored, as a Java code or a class file? It's a class file, 100%. So you go and search into the JDK, you will find a lot of definitions, lot of binary files. So uh, real answer, it's a package. We are going to create a package of our own, and we will find how to create a package. So the correct answer is util is stored in the format of package. Fine. And we will learn how to create a package. Then second question is, where is the package present in my machine? You go and locate the JDK directory that we have seen discussed in the first lecture. Wherever you have installed your Java development toolkit, JDK Java development kit, in that directory you will find is all packages. Okay. Any other question? In my machine. Okay. Abhishek Joshi, I've answered your question, I guess so. Any other question? Okay, why to use new keyword? Abhishek. Okay, okay, okay. Why to use new? Fine. So why to use new? This has to something do with the memory allocation. So Java is a strict OOP. I'm going to talk about this strictness in more detail now. So the first rule that we learned about strict OOP is Java do not allow you to write anything without a class. You have to compulsory make use of a class to write anything. The second thing Java does is Java allows object to be stored only on a heap memory. Java do not allow you to store object on stack. If you follow the practice of C++, I am sure that you are aware that if let's say A is a class, for example, if A is a class and if I create object of A like this, then this object variable will get a memory on stack area of a computer. If you create object like this, then this will get a memory on heap area of your system. And this call a object2 is equal to new a. These both calls are very same. This is also going to call a default constructor. This is also going to call a default constructor. And let's say your class A have a parameterized constructor, then you can call that also like new a and let's say 1. In this case, we are expecting that the class A have a parameterized constructor which is called as which have an argument of type integer. I hope you understood this. uh, I what I'm doing is I am assuming that you people are aware of constructors as you have learned C++. Shall I talk about constructors before coming to the scanner and this part? No, fine. So you are all aware about constructors? Are you comfortable with constructors? Everyone? Yes, great, great. Right. I replaced it with the scanner. Okay, fine. There's one question. Why new? Okay. So in the scanner class have many constructors inside it. One of the constructor is to read from a keyboard. That constructors accepts argument of type system.in. Now look at this again. So we have a package system which have sub package called as out, which is dealing with printing on the output buffer. In the same style, Java have something called as system and in. Okay, my meeting will abruptly end in 5 minutes. If it terminates, we will start with the same point in the next lecture. Fine. So let me close this. So scanner system.in. So this system.in will allow you to read from a keyboard. Now let's read one number. So integer I. This is how you can create a variable in Java. And let's use object which we have created. And there is a method called as next int. Now look at the standard. Again, we are very sure that there is no class in this statement because object is object of this. Next starts with the small character. So this is not a class. And again, one camel case is coming in picture. So look at the standard of Java. If you are writing a method, then the method name will start with a small character and the subsequent word in the method name has to start with the capital character. So next is one word and int was the another word, look at the start of the int. It is starting with a capital character. It means that if I have to create my method, let's say I want to create a method my demo, so I will write void my demo method. So this should be the style I'll be using. So void m character is small, d is capital. Again, the third word is present, which is method. So m is capital. So this is called as a camel case. We have to compulsory follow the standard while defining a method in Java. If we do not follow the standard, still compiler compiles it, it will work, it will do the job, but that is not recommended. You have to follow the standard while writing a program in Java. Like method name must start with a small character, eventual word in the method name must start with a capital character, the class name has to start with the capital word itself. Okay, so there are a few questions again. So if write scanner object, I didn't get the question, Kshitish. It will run into an error. Yes, it will run into error. If you write only scanner object, it will run into error. Why we can't use system.in at system.out? I didn't get this question from Abhishek Joshi. Abhishek, can you precisely ask your question? What do you mean by not system.in at system.out?
हॅलो सर.
Yes.
सर आपण आता इथं सिस्टीम डॉट आउट डॉट प्रिंटफ जसं यूज केलंय तसं आपण डायरेक्ट सिस्टीम डॉट इन असं यूज करू शकत नाही काय?
करू शकतो ना. आता मी तेच केलंय. मला असं करावं लागेल. system.in obj.
हा सर सेम तसं.
हा. So it's shortcut ना. Why do you create a object, independent object and then pass? तुम्ही असं सी प्लस मध्ये केला असाल ना, की सपोज तुमचा ए नावाचा क्लास आहे, त्याचा ऑब्जेक्ट घेऊन तुम्हाला तो बी ला पास करायचा आहे. बी ऑब्जेक्ट टू इज इक्वल टू न्यू बी, आणि सपोज हा ए चा ऑब्जेक्ट घेत असेल तर तुम्ही असं पास करता. त्याच्याऐवजी तुम्ही असंही पास करू शकता, न्यू ए. डू यू नो दिस?
हा सर. येस.
Yes. So same style I'm using. We can use the system.in directly. So instead of
ओके
using indirectly, I'm directly passing it.
ओके सर, गॉट इट.
Yeah, good. So syntax he's asking. Fine, good. So I hope I've answered this. So let's try to compile. If I haven't made any typographical error, this is going to compile fine. First dot Java. So it compiles fine, and the very important part, I am not displaying the word variable that I'm going to read from the keyboard. Let me add the code to print the variable I on the line println. Let's print I on the screen, and let's compile Java C first dot Java C first, and now Java first, and let's type 1 2 3, and I hope you can see this 1 2 3, right? So this is how you can read a number from keyboard. Now, where to find? Now, we are not God to remember all the methods which are present inside scanner. There are round about 6,000 classes till JDK 8, and there are each class probably have minimum what we can say 20 or 30 methods. So there are 6,000 classes. Each class have 20